Good evening and welcome to the evening news for today, Thursday, September 21, 2023. I am Jemima Holmes. Thank you for tuning in. Now let's take a look at some of the lead stories tonight. We are not backing down from investments, JAGDEO says on Venezuela's intimidation. Guyana looking for new companies to market its oil. New $172 million East RUIMVELDT secondary school wing commissioned. 4 days later, fire at New Amsterdam dumpsite posing environmental concerns. And contracts worth $643 million inked for major road upgrades in Linden. Now for the news in detail. Vice President Dr. JAGDEO has said the government of Guyana is not surprised by the recent statements made by Venezuela on Guyana's oil blocks' auction, but he declared that government will not back down from the development of the country by using its resources, both on land and in its exclusive economic zone. Here's our lead story tonight.
Last week, Guyana concluded the bid round of its historic oil block auction, receiving 14 offers on 8 blocks offshore. On Tuesday, however, Venezuela issued a statement in which it protested against this oil block auction, even though all the blocks are in Guyana's sovereign territory. During his press conference on Thursday, Vice President Dr. JAGDEO said none of the 6 companies that submitted bids during the licensing round have reached out to the government over this latest development.
We have not heard from any of the bidders that they're concerned about the statement, and it's not surprising that Venezuela would issue this statement. They have done so almost for every major event when we've tried to utilize the economic resources of our country, both on land and in our exclusive economic zone.
According to JAGDEO, the Guyana government has appropriately responded to the intimidation tactic by its Spanish-speaking neighbor. In fact, Guyana has also received the support of the United States and the Organization of American States, who've rejected Venezuela's aggression. The vice president contended that Guyana will not be backing down from developing its resources.
And to confirm, there will be no pulling back from Guyana on us going through with our licensing round and future plans?
No, this is our sovereign Guyanese territory, and the 14 blocks are all in our exclusive economic zone.
Venezuela is laying claim to more than 2/3 of Guyana's landmass in Essequibo and a portion of Guyana's exclusive economic zone, where over 11 billion barrels of proven reserves are estimated to exist with oil production and exploration activities ongoing. Guyana has since moved to the International Court of Justice to get a final and binding ruling on the October 3, 1899 arbitral award to settle the long-standing border controversy. This matter is still pending in the World Court. Pooja Rembrandt for the Evening News.
We now report that amid rebuffs of its recent threats against Guyana, Venezuela has issued another statement, this time accusing the United States of aggression. Venezuela's attempts to intimidate Guyana amid its oil blocks' auction attracted criticisms from the United States and the Organization of American States, among other organizations. On Tuesday, Venezuela issued a statement in which it protested against Guyana's efforts to auction its oil blocks, even though all the blocks are in Guyana's sovereign territory. But in its second official statement, following a series of criticisms regarding its actions, Venezuela accused the U.S. of aggression, expressing that the opportunist and interventionist position expressed by the Department of State of the United States of America in relation to the claims of the Guyanese government under the tutelage of ExxonMobil Company aspires to ignore the legitimate rights of the Venezuelan people over its territory, end quote. Venezuela, in the statement, said it is alerting the international community of the U.S. intentions to create in the peace zone of Latin America and the Caribbean a military base in Guyana to turn that country into the spearhead of an aggression operation against Venezuela, which would put the peace and stability of the entire region at risk. Guyana's President, Dr. Irfan Ali, has already alerted the United Nations of these recent developments. We now report that the Guyana government is inviting companies to market its share of crude oil from the Stabroek Block, where United States oil major ExxonMobil is producing oil in 2 fields and gearing up to start production at its 3rd project offshore. Here is Vanu Manikchand with the details.
The invitation for bid issued by the Natural Resources Ministry invites eligible bidders to submit their bids for the provision of marketing services for Guyana's entitlement of oil from offshore production activities. Interested companies will be bidding to market crude from the Liza Destiny floating production, storage and offloading vessel and the Liza Unity FPSO vessel in the Liza field, as well as from the Prosperity FPSO vessel in the Payara project, which is scheduled to come on stream later this year. Currently, ExxonMobil and its co-venturers, Hess and CNOOC, are producing as much as 400,000 barrels per day at the Liza field. The Payara will add another 220,000 barrels per day when production regulates. For 2023, Guyana is entitled to 17 lifts. So far, the Natural Resources Fund has received payments for 7 lifts, earning an estimated US $1.4 billion in profit oil. Last October, United Kingdom's BP Oil International Limited won the 12-month contract to market Guyana's share of profit oil from the Liza Destiny and Liza Unity FPSO. The new contractor will now have to market the country's crude from 3 FPSOs. According to the bid invite, they will have to competitively market and maximize the value of the government's crude oil entitlement from developments in the Stabroek Block and create a competitive market for the Liza, Unity Gold and Payara Gold blends. These bids will be conducted on a lot basis. Hence, bidders can bid for 1 or more lots as defined in the bidding documents. Additional information can be obtained from the Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Natural Resources. The deadline for the submission of bids is 9 hours on October 17, 2023 at the National Procurement and Tender Administration Board. Bids must be valid for 120 days from the date of bid opening. Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manikchand.
Grade 7 and 8 students of the East RUIMVELDT Secondary School are now benefiting from a newly commissioned 10-classroom wing that aims to solve that educational facility's long-standing space concerns. Pooja Rambaran has the details.
The new $172.6 million facility boasts of 10 classrooms, male and female washrooms, and an admin block with an information technology IT lab, a conference room, and a room for ancillary staff. During the commissioning ceremony on Thursday, East RUIMVELDT Secondary School's head teacher Catherine Fraser explained that this new wing comes after the school saw an increase in their student population during the COVID-19 pandemic by some 157 students.
When we started to have our face-to-face interaction, we realized that our main building could not accommodate our students. So with the intervention of the Ministry of Education, the tent was suggested. Our administration and the PTA agreed on the tent with the intention that our building will follow shortly. Our school's population is growing, and I know for certain that with our new block, the accommodation problem is now resolved.
The new wing is named after former principal, the late Samuel B. Moffat, who Fraser noted transformed the school into one that produces students that can compete with top institutions at both the academic and sports levels. Meanwhile, Education Minister Priya Manikchand disclosed plans to shortly commission an extension block of St. Winifred's Secondary School. This goes alongside ongoing works to reconstruct Christchurch Secondary, North RUIMVELDT Secondary, St. George's High School, and St. Mary's High School.
By next September, we are not going to have the space problem that we had when I came into office in 2020. We're very sure of it. And we're very glad to be able to provide seats for children to sit in classrooms.
Manik-Chan added her intentions to see students excel both academically and in other fields.
We don't only want you to sit in a classroom, we want you to enjoy your secondary schooling, and we want you to emerge from these schools successful with 5 or more subjects, including math and English. Before the month ends, we're going to be sending in allied arts to your school. And what I want for each of you is, in addition to the academic pursuits, that every single one of you must be exposed to a musical instrument, a sport, a foreign language, a TVET subject, and a strong sense of volunteerism.
Infrastructural changes at East RUIMVELDT Secondary do not end with this wing, however. A new science lab is currently being built on the school compound, with plans to have a modernized home economics department. Manik-Chan also expressed considerations to build a pool within the school grounds that can accommodate students from neighboring schools as well. Pooja Rambrand for the Evening News.
President Dr. Irfan Ali has underscored the need for equitable access to resources, a multi-sectoral approach to pandemic responses, and technology transfer as part of the international community's support to improve the healthcare systems in developing countries. The head of state called for such an action plan while addressing the high-level meeting on pandemic prevention, preparedness, and response at the United Nations 78th session in New York, United States, yesterday. He spoke on behalf of the Caribbean community. Here's what he had to say.
The COVID-19 pandemic exposed and further exacerbated the stark inequities and inequalities within and among countries. We saw severe illness and loss of life, disruption in education, grave effects on trade and global supply chains, economic crisis, and widespread job losses. As a region with a high non-communicable disease burden, CARICOM experienced firsthand how persons living with NCDs were at higher risk of developing severe COVID-19 symptoms. This reinforces the importance of scaling up the prevention, treatment, and control of NCDs in the context of pandemic prevention, preparedness, and response. CARICOM is implementing multi-sectoral approaches to pandemic prevention, preparedness, and response, recognizing the multifaceted causes and consequences of pandemics, including their potential impact on social protection, tourism, the environment, agriculture, and ultimately sustainable development. We also acknowledge the need to expand the scope and increase the coordination of current financing mechanisms, including surge financing, for more effective and equitable pandemic responses. We trust that these mechanisms, including the Pandemic Fund, will bolster assistance to all developing countries, including small island developing states.
Coming up, 4 days later, fire at New Amsterdam dump site posing environmental concerns, and Core Home Support Home Improvement Subsidy app launched. Do stay with us. More news ahead.
Come visit us on Waterloo Street. John Lewis Styles.
Wash Bay operators, are you looking for that unique service to elevate your business? Well, come on down to your #1 industrial store, Sylvies, and invest in an undercarriage pressure washer tool. That's right, impress your customers by now washing under their vehicles easy and efficiently with an undercarriage tool. We have in stock different types that offer a wider range of services and can increase your revenue without having to invest in expensive ramps. Your customers are going to leave satisfied. So what are you waiting for? If you can't make it to our 31 High and Hatfield Streets location, we can deliver in and around Georgetown. Give us a call on 227-6226 or WhatsApp us on 623-7755 or visit our website sylviesonline.com. Sylvies Industrial Solution, proudly serving Guyana for over 4 decades.
Welcome back. You're watching the evening news. A fire that erupted on Monday at the municipal dump site in New Amsterdam continues to burn today, and the town's mayor has expressed concerns about the impact this is having on the environment. Our Berbice correspondent Andrew Carmichael has that story.
It was on Monday that flames were seen coming from the municipal dump site situated at Esplanade in New Amsterdam. Thick smoke bellowed from the site, covering sections of the town. Firefighters arrived at the scene, but there was not much that they could have done. The heavy wind pushed the raging flames to the far side of the dump site, making it impossible for firefighters to get there. However, they assured that there was no threat to lives or property. The department said the fire was under control on Tuesday. However, on Wednesday, thick smoke obscured visibility in the compound of the New Amsterdam Hospital and also the Berbice High School. The situation became worrying, and Mayor Wainwright McIntosh made a second visit to the location and was able to speak with workers contracted by Sylvies Waste Management, which has responsibility for managing the dump site.
What they are saying is they're actually making preparations via the excavation of this drainage network, after which they will install a 3-inch pump, yes, according to the worker here at the dump site. To say when this pump will arrive, the worker has no knowledge of when this pump will arrive to commence the process of eradication of the fire here that would have started at the municipal dump site.
However, the suggested systems that is being put in place is not likely to have any significant impact on the fire, as a reservoir will not have the capacity to supply anywhere close to the needed amount of water.
Our residents are affected. It's a health hazard and it calls for concern. So I'm asking for the contractor to hasten its footsteps once again to alleviate this environmental crisis that we are now faced with.
In explaining that the dump site is not being managed by the municipality, McIntosh said all efforts are being made to get in contact with the management of the company, which has been contracted to manage the facility.
It was not the municipality who would have given that contract out. However, this contract was procured through the government of Guyana. And so the municipality to date, I must say, sadly, we did not see any contract whatsoever coming from neither the government of Guyana or the contractor.
For the evening news, Andrew Carmichael.
In a significant development for Linden, Region 10, the Ministry of Public Works has taken a crucial step towards improving the area's infrastructure. Luana McAllister reports that contracts totaling an impressive $643 million were officially signed on Wednesday to facilitate the construction of concrete roads in the region.
The ambitious project, spearheaded by Minister of Public Works Bishop Juan Edgell, will see the construction of approximately 5.4 kilometers of concrete roads across Linden. This endeavor aims not only to enhance connectivity within the region, but also to bolster its overall infrastructure. During the contract signing ceremony on Wednesday, Minister Edgell emphasized the importance of using high-quality materials for these critical road works.
We specifically spoke about quality control. Quality control. This is the and for these projects, we will need about 3,600 meter cube of concrete to get these roads completed. And we specifically said, mixing with spade and ransom, you're taking a risk because you have to get 4,000 PSI. So we told you while you were bidding, make sure you're getting proper concrete from people who you know got the quality control mechanism in place. And I hope you have done that. From all indications, we have seen that you are looking in that direction.
Addressing the 49 local contractors selected to carry out the projects, he stressed the need for meticulous attention to detail and adherence to the ministry's specified quality standards. Furthermore, Minister Edgell encouraged close collaboration between the contractors, the ministry's engineers, and the clerk of works.
A little advice, and the engineers and the clerk of works will have to work with you on that. But when we did some of the concrete roads in Linden before, some of the contractors had to do back some work because of one thing they didn't do. After you cast the concrete, you got to keep wetting it for a couple of days. And remember, Linden is much hotter than some of the other areas. So when we suck the water out of the concrete, you're losing the strength. So you have to be able to keep it moist for a couple of days. And that's just an advice, because a wise man learns from the mistakes of others. A fool learns from his own mistakes.
This teamwork, according to Edgell, will play a pivotal role in ensuring that the projects meet the stipulated quality benchmarks, ultimately delivering durable and long-lasting concrete roads for the benefit of Linden's residents. This significant investment in infrastructure, totaling some $643 million, not only promises improved roadways, but also holds the potential to boost economic activity and enhance the overall quality of life in Linden and its surrounding areas. Reporting for the Evening News, LaWanda McAllister.
In a recent event at the High Court in Georgetown, Acting Chief Justice Roxanne George SC welcomed to the Guyana Bar 3 young women who recently graduated the Hugh Wooden Law School. Here is LaWanda McAllister again with this story.
The applications for admission to the bar were presented by Attorney General and Legal Affairs Minister Anil Nandalal. Chief Justice Roxanne George, in her congratulatory remarks, emphasized the importance of upholding the rule of law and serving with excellence in their legal careers. She reminded the new lawyers of their responsibilities in the noble profession, urging them to maintain principles of honesty and integrity and to engage in pro bono work. Rhea Harris, one of the newly admitted attorneys, was named valedictorian of the HWLS graduating class of 2023 and received several awards for her academic achievements. She will practice at the law firm of Gunraj & Co. The other 2 attorneys, Mohani Sudama and Shania Prasad, will begin their careers at the Attorney General's chambers. All 3 completed their law degrees at the University of Guyana and the Legal Education Certificate program at HWLS. Speaking with the media on Wednesday, Harris said she is excited to start this new journey of her career.
At first it was a little nerve-wracking, but here I am now. I'm excited to start this new journey.
Okay, so tell us about the journey. Did you always want to do law?
Yes, I have always wanted to do law. However, my reason for wanting to do law has evolved over the years. But the common thread has always been that I want to help persons.
Over the next few weeks, High Court judges will preside over bar calls for several Guyanese who graduated from the Trinidad-based institution on Saturday last. Reporting for the Evening News, I am LaWanda McAllister.
The Central Housing and Planning Authority, under the purview of the Housing and Water Ministry on Wednesday, launched the Core Home Support and Home Improvement Subsidy mobile app to allow persons to easily monitor the status of their applications. Pooja Rambaran reports.
Here, applicants can access real-time updates on when they will receive the keys to their core home or materials to enhance their home. Designed by local technology company V75 Incorporated, the app forms part of the Ministry and the CH&PA's larger plan to enhance the home ownership process through increased digitalization. V75 Incorporated Director and Development Officer Asa Brue highlighted the app's offerings during its launch on Wednesday at the Arthur Chung Convention Center.
1. There is a central repository for quick, easy, secure access to your applicant's data. Timely notifications your way. So here, you can access your information at any time. You don't need to go line up into, take time off your busy schedule in order to just, view where your application is. So we then have schedule management for visitation. So now you will not be left in the dark. You will know immediately when is your next visit, what is needed, and be able to track whether you need to talk with your contractors or you need to sign a document. That will all be available for you on your application and many more.
Minister within the Housing Ministry, Suzanne Rodriguez, noted that the app, for one, reduces the anxiety particularly for older beneficiaries by reassuring them that their application is being addressed.
It also represents a move, another installment of the move by our government towards e-governance. So transferring towards digitization and ensuring that we use every technology available to us to deliver efficient service to the people of our country. Thirdly, it also improves transparency and accountability. So you have full access to your information. Everything has been uploaded to a system that you can check and verify.
The Core Home Support Initiative forms part of the Inter-American Development Bank IDB-funded Adequate and Affordable Housing and Urban Accessibility Program. It is aimed towards helping low-income vulnerable Guyanese in poor living conditions. The other aspect is the Home Improvement Subsidy, which enables persons in the target boundaries to receive up to $500,000 in materials to upgrade their homes. The app associated with this program is now available on Google Play Store and Apple Store. Pooja Rembrandt for the Evening News.
The Health Ministry has launched the Mental Health and Psychosocial Well-Being and Development of Children and Adolescents program in Guyana, wherein heavy attention will be placed on addiction and substance abuse. Rupasina Ryan tells us more.
The new program is being executed through a collaborative effort from the Pan-American Health Organization, World Health Organization, PAHO WHO, and the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, UNICEF. It aims to address and break the intergenerational cycle of poor mental health and transform mental health outcomes in Guyana. One key aspect which the Health Ministry will be addressing is substance abuse and addiction.
One of the things that we have looked at and we want to focus on is an area that we haven't done much work in, and that is in terms of addiction. So substance abuse, alcohol abuse, we want to do a lot more work in this area. And right now, if somebody needs to get some help, there are basically two NGOs that would offer that type of help, and that's Salvation Army and Phoenix Recovery. But that's not good enough because we're seeing more and more cases of people who need this type of help. And therefore, one component of this program is really to look at addiction and how we can prevent addiction from happening.
Dr. Anthony noted that the ministry is working on establishing a comprehensive national strategy to combat mental health in Guyana, and it is not being handled in a piecemeal way.
The legislative bit we are now implementing. But while we do that, we also want to have a comprehensive national strategy on mental health and making sure that what is captured in the law we now have in our mental health strategy. So there are some core principles that we want to look at. One is to have patients who have been institutionalized, we want to de-institutionalize them. So for example, we have persons who would have been in the National Psychiatric Hospital for more than a decade. And many of them can actually go home. However, the homes from which they came no longer want to accept them. So we just can't put them out of the institution. We have to find other ways to help those persons.
Deputy Representative of UNICEF Guyana and Suriname, Irfan Akhtar, highlighted that this program is in keeping with one of the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals.
This will focus on developing a core leadership to plan, implement, and monitor the mental health in Guyana. So WHO, PAHO, and UNICEF will work around capacity building activities, whether in country, outside the country, because currently, as I mentioned, mental health is a global priority for UNICEF and for WHO, PAHO, and there are so many activities happening at global and regional level. So we'll try to mobilize those expertise to come and support Guyana.
Rupa Sinarayan, The Evening News.
And now for a look at the bridge reports.
The Damar Harbour Bridge will be closed to vehicular traffic on Friday, September 22nd, 2023 at 9:30 and then again at 22 hours, both for a period of 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, the Berbice River Bridge is expected to be closed at 8:30 on Friday, September 22nd, 2023, also for a period of 1.5 hours.
Antigua edged Lady Jags 2-1 in CONCACAF opener, and GBA rewards boxers coaches for outstanding performances. Details of these stories and more in the Sportcast, sponsored by MacCorp, coming up on the other side of the break.
Premier insurance coverage for less. Stay safe.
For bid, performance, retention, advanced mobilisation or customs bonds, bond with us. Fuel your success. Call 223-0840 or visit premierinsurance.gy. Premier Insurance. Premier insurance coverage.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality? Or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Philips, Sadco, Rubbermaid, Pyrex, Gibson Home, and so much more. National Hardware Limited, your do-it-best store. Located in downtown Georgetown and industrial site RUIMVELDT.
Superbet, your best bet. With many agents countrywide, our products are easily accessible. Visit an agent nearest to you to play your favorite games. Must be 18 years and older. Terms and conditions apply. Play responsibly.